400,000 people that live in hell on earth.
The United Nations Secretary General describing the situation in eastern Ghouta near the Syrian capital Damascus. What could be done to end the civil war? Hello, I'm Nathan King, sitting in for Anand Naidu, and this is The Heat. Hello again. It's been nearly 7 years since the start of the Syrian conflict. Human rights organizations estimate almost 500,000 people have been killed and more than 12 million displaced. That's half the pre-war population, with no end in sight. For more, we turn to CGTN's Alaa Ebrahim in Damascus. Alaa, thanks so much for joining us this week. The government forces launched a heavy strike against eastern Ghouta near Damascus. More than 400 people reportedly killed since Sunday. Eastern Ghouta, just outside of Damascus. How's the situation there now on the ground?
Well, the Syrian government began its military campaign to retake eastern Ghouta on Sunday this week, and since then sounds of air and artillery strikes could be heard very clearly here in the Syrian capital, Damascus. And despite the fact that activists inside Ghouta say that there are over 400 civilians inside who have been killed by the Syrian government's assault, government sources are telling CGTN that these numbers are greatly exaggerated. The government has always accused rebels of using civilians inside eastern Ghouta and other places as human shields. On Thursday, Syrian warplanes dropped flyers over eastern Ghouta. These flyers specified exit corridors, safe exit corridors for civilians wishing to leave eastern Ghouta. The armed forces vowed in these flyers to ensure the security and safety, in addition to the medical needs of every civilian who wishes to leave eastern Ghouta through these designated safe corridors. We should also mention that the military buildup that we are seeing from the Syrian government in the past few weeks suggests that the government is not backing down and that a ground offensive will soon follow this relentless wave of airstrikes that we have been seeing, that many are calling unprecedented in the Syrian war. Meanwhile, rebels continued to shell the Syrian capital Damascus, averaging on 20 shells and rockets and mortars every day across various districts of the Syrian capital Damascus.
So that's near the capital, but in the northern part of the country, Alaa, the Turkish forces are fighting Kurdish militia, and the Syrian forces also getting involved. A very tense situation. How's that all playing out?
Well, it's a very tense situation, as you said. In addition, it's one of the very unlikely coalitions and alliances that the Syrian war has created. We have Turkey on the first hand, an ally of the United States of America, a member of NATO, waging a relentless attack against the Kurdish militias, the YPG, which is the main ally of also the United States in their fight against ISIL. And then we see the YPG, the Kurdish militias, turning to the Syrian government and its allies, Russia and Iran, for help against the Turkish incursion into the district of Afrin, north of the country. Again, one of the many cases of unlikely alliances that the Syrian war has created. We know that this week pro-government militias entered the district of Afrin, and we have information now that these militias and fighters from these militias are now being deployed to the front lines to help propel the Turkish advance inside Syrian territories. We know that most of the militias that went inside were Iranian-backed militias, and on Friday, the Kurdish militias said that Turkey started an intensified shelling campaign, hitting an aid convoy that was headed inside the district of Afrin, and that the main road connecting Afrin to the rest of the country is now effectively cut off by the Turkish artillery strikes. But Turkish sources are saying that what they hit was not actually an aid convoy, but a convoy of trucks carrying men and women headed to Afrin to become fighters or to join the fight against the Turkish troops alongside the Kurdish YPG militias.
Thanks, Alaa, on the escalating humanitarian problem and, of course, the geopolitical tensions as well. Thanks so much, Alaa Ebrahim from Damascus.